Hello, my name is Jenny and I'm making a very scary video. The reason I say that this video is scary to make is because this world and the people in it, for the most part, are very kind. But there are some people who just get so angry and so mean, and that makes me nervous to make this video. So if you are easily offended or this is not your cup of tea, you know what the video is about by the title, please just click out of it. You don't have to watch it unless you want to hear someone's viewpoint. Just be respectful because I'm going through a lot. And for this video I probably will do approval or something. But this video is very scary to make and it's very important to me. So I just feel compelled to make it. So my name is Jenny. I am 33 years old. When I was 31, I found out that I had breast cancer. I did 6 months of chemotherapy and had a double mastectomy and did 25 rounds of radiation. I knew that there was a high chance of my cancer coming back because I have a very aggressive form of cancer, which is called triple negative. And I am also a carrier of the BRCA1 mutation, which means that my body just can't fight the cancer. Where most people have 2 sets of cancer fighting genes, I only have 1. 5 months after I finished radiation, by chance we found out that my cancer had returned. It at that point was in my diaphragm, in 2 chest lymph nodes, and my scalp. I had a bump on my scalp. That was in May of 2015, and it has progressed. I've been on Halaven. I was on Halaven for 6.5 months. I did brain radiation because the cancer started to grow in my brain also. And then I did 14 rounds of radiation to my chest because I had a brand new lymph node pop up and 2 lymph nodes were closing off an airway to my lungs. It is also now in the lining of my lungs. So what does this mean? This means that my cancer is very aggressive, doesn't respond well to chemotherapy. I did get my tumors tested and I only got 3 chemo options back. I am on number 2. And at some point this chemotherapy will stop working, because cancer is very, very smart and it mutates and it changes and it adapts to its environment. And at some point, the current chemo that I'm on that's working, my cancer will become immune to. That's also why I'm coughing a lot, is because not only all of the damage from the cancer in my lung and my diaphragm and, and around my breathing tube, but when I had radiation, it hit my esophagus, so it's tender. This video is to express my views on death with dignity. I do not want to die. I am 33 years old. I am on my 2nd marriage. I very naively got married right after high school. But that's okay, because I learned a lot from that marriage, as I'm sure he did too. I now am married to a wonderful man who is very respectful and loves me unconditionally. I've never known this kind of unconditional love from a man before. My father left when I was very young, and I didn't really get close to my stepdad until a few years ago. Christopher is my rock. He's 30 and the most kind man you'll ever meet. We have 2 beautiful boys. They're 4 and 8. I've been very open about my diagnosis with my children. And every day, almost every day, very often, when I tell my 4-year-old that I love him, he says, "I love you." And I say, "I'm going to love you always and forever." And then he just starts crying and he's like, "Even when you're dead, even when I'm dead, I'll love you always and forever." I never once, when I was pregnant or giving birth or breastfeeding my children, ever thought that I would not be here to raise them. Some people tell me, be positive. I am very positive. I am in love with my family. I have great friends. I have a wonderful support system. But it doesn't change the fact that I have cancer. And it's a very strong cancer. It's a very smart cancer. And I'm running out of options. So, I don't want to die. I want to see my oldest son go to middle school. I want to see my youngest son go to middle school. I want to see them graduate. I want to teach them how to drive. I want to be there for their first heartbreak, their first girlfriend. I want to be there when they go off to college, when they get married, when they graduate college, when they have children. I want to be a grandmother. I think I would be a really wonderful grandmother. But the reality is that I won't. And that's a very, very harsh reality that I don't think anybody should have to live with, and yet we do. Just with breast cancer, and this does not include any other cancers, because I don't know the numbers on those. With breast cancer, between 108 and 112 men and women die every day. 40,000 men and women die every year from breast cancer. That's not just the elderly or the middle-aged. That's us in our 30s, in our 20s, in our 40s, and we have babies. And we have children to raise and lives to live and husbands to grow old with. Not enough is being done for research. So, I know, I am well aware and very well educated about my illness. I should have brought tissues. I know what my fate is. I'm not afraid to die either, because I know that that means that when I do pass away, that the side effects from chemotherapy are done. The constant coughing is done, which tends to go away somewhat when I cry. That the pain, cramps from my diaphragm spazzing out on me, all of these crazy aches and pains that I have every day are going to be over. That's not the part that makes me sad. The only part about dying that kills me emotionally is leaving my children and my husband and my loved ones behind. I fear the emotional damages that my illness will bring to my family. With cancer, you either go really fast or you go really slow. I'm afraid I'm going to go really slow. I think I'd much rather go really fast. Not right now, because that It's not ideal. But if I happen to go really slow, the idea of sitting around hooked up to machines, becoming thin, all of these things, and my children seeing that, I feel like that would do more emotional damages to my family than if I were to gather everybody around, say goodbye, and tell them that I love them and that I'm so gonna miss them. Taking a drink and peacefully falling asleep when the kids are asleep in bed in the arms of my husband before I start to struggle with my breathing or have debilitating headaches from my brain meds. Everybody wants to die in the arms of their lover. What if I'm too frail to do that? Or I'm so out of my mind from my brain meds that I don't know who my children are, or my husband is? That's a horrible thought. That would be more traumatic. If my boys walked in the room and I didn't know who they were because mommy's cancer has gone and eaten her brain up. I would much rather go peacefully in my bed with my dogs in my lap and in my husband's arms, just take a drink and fall asleep. That seems so peaceful. It seems a hell of a lot better than being so drugged up that I don't know who I am, or that I'm not even there for weeks and months on end. I think that would do a lot more damage to my children and my husband than if I were to just go. A lot of times with Death with Dignity, you have to do a lot of processing. It's not just, oh, you're dying, here you go, here's a drink. It's not that easy. You have to get several doctors' okays, and a lot of times you have to get a therapist approval to do that too. And a lot of times people don't make it to having that decision being made. And you know, I could apply for Death with Dignity and get approved and get the medication and plan a date, and then I could have an aneurysm and go before I ever get to do that option. But to have that option, I don't have that right now, and I would really like to have that option. I don't think that approving something like Death with Dignity would endanger people. I don't think that there are doctors, I'm sure there are because people are people, but for the most part, I don't think any doctor would take an advantage of that and just give somebody something. And if they do, there should be just punishment. But it's not fair to assume the worst and just leave people like me and other people suffering, because that's what you're doing. I don't think that it's suicide. And a lot of people view Death with Dignity as suicide. I was suicidal once. Actually suicidal. I was depressed. I felt sorry for myself. I was in this cesspool of sadness. I was going through a lot, and I actively tried to kill myself. I would drink a bottle of vodka with a handful of sleeping pills. Still here. And there was nothing medically wrong with me. So, me wanting this option is a completely different feeling from when I was suicidal. This isn't me giving up, because I actually want to live and I have something and so much to live for. This is me saying, I'm tired. Not right now, but I'll get there. And it makes me really sad to think that when I do get to that point, I won't have this choice. You have to think of it as compassion. Put yourself in someone's shoes and imagine for once, if you're opposed to it, imagine what it would be like to not be able to breathe. Because 2 months ago, I struggled with breathing. Thankfully, I did some radiation and I found a chemotherapy that kind of works for my breathing issues. But like I said, cancer changes, and at some point, this chemotherapy will stop working. I don't want my children to watch me suffer, because they're 4 and they're 8. And I don't think that if I were to choose death with dignity and have that option and use it, I don't think God would be mad at me. Because I honestly feel like the only thing that's holding death with dignity back is religion. I don't think that I would be punished for ending my suffering. It's really hard to stay alive when you have cancer that's just going crazy in your body. So, this is my video for the Death with Dignity in Texas. I hope it's not too long. And that's my story, and that's why I want death with dignity. So if you're opposed to it, please be nice. I'm going through so much. Just be nice. It's okay for people to have different opinions, but you have to be able to have conversation, or else you just get nowhere. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. I hope that I helped you see things in a different light, maybe. Or helped you feel like, yeah, that's what I have, that's how I feel. So, if you're in a different state or a different country that doesn't allow death with dignity, there are chapters, you just have to look them up. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good one.